Check, check, check. Audio check. Audio check. Audio check. All right. I think we've got. Not sure if this is all going, but good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binaries, interplanetary, intergalactic time travelers. We salute you. This is Oliver. I'm in a bunker I call Studio 72 in the People's Republic of Multnomah County in the People's Republic of Portland, Oregon. But I wanted to do a little bit more of a deep dive on the Vistra Moss Landing lithium batteries. Something I didn't totally catch. There's a couple of things I didn't totally catch, and I noticed that the media really wants to gloss over on this one. It needs a lot more attention, and it needs to actually be shut down. Sorry, Elon, not sorry, Elon, but this is an environmental catastrophe in the nation's, not just California's, CRISPR, where we get huge amounts, a majority amount of our food agriculture is right around this area that has been now contaminated. And just like we saw with East Palestine, Ohio, where they exploded the vinyl chloride train cars. They didn't need to explode it. They packed it full of dynamite, and Secretary Pete Buttigieg, with the Biden administration, committed one of the greatest environmental crimes and catastrophes on our soil in American history. Blew that mofo up. So I want to do a little bit of a deep dive. I didn't know that this was Tesla batteries. There's two sets of battery manufacturers. This has got Elon. No wonder Elon's gone dark, and it appears that he's stuttering and on some sort of a weird ketamine bender. Of course, maybe it's always kind of like that with him, and nothing's really changed. But no, I mean, God bless you, brother. But I'm not a fan of these EVs, and we're going to take a look at some of this that's just kind of came to light. Some new things have come to light, man. Some new information, bro. So again, bear with me if there's some glitches on the video feed and all that, but I'm still kind of getting my bearings. But I'm definitely much more comfortable flying this Zeus airplane than I have been the last couple of videos. So let's just kind of jump in. I'm not going to go long-winded, and I'll try not to curse as much. I know some of you are real sensitive to that, and I just like to say to you guys, please just shut the fuck up. No, I'm just kidding. But so let me see if I can do a little bit of a share. I want to start here with a couple of things from a manager. Let's see if it's going to let me do this here. Okay, so I got to view this tab. View one more. It's not actually. Okay, there we go. So once I got that, then I can go back to the page and kind of take a look at it here. So let's see if we can play just a little bit of this. This is a compressor.
This is just a fire. It's really a wake-up call for this industry. And if we're going to be moving ahead, there are a lot of questions from the residents in my district and the communities surrounding here, and they want to know why this happened. They want to know how it happened and what can be done to prevent it from the future. And while our immediate concern is really safety right now, and the other speakers will be addressing that, it's not really too soon to look ahead. You know, there must be accountability for this, and there will be accountability. We need to get the information out, and it needs to be transparent, and it needs to be clear.
Hopefully you can hear that.
Now, I understand, as I mentioned, just a few need for these batteries into creating a sustainable, climate-friendly energy source.
Climate-friendly.
And I've had a lot of people
friendly about this
over
crap.
the years ask, why do we have batteries over here in Moss Landing next to an environmentally sensitive area of the Elkhorn Slough, the Monterey Bay, of course.
Elkhorn Slough. Elkhorn Slough is the primary provider for tens of thousands of farms. the ag CRISPR of not only California, but the entire West Coast and the entire country, plus global food supplies have been affected by this, and they're trying to cover it up. They're trying to gloss over it. And this is one of the supervisors. I saw him in a couple of other interviews that a couple of other indie journalists have picked up, and he's not happy about it. He actually wants to close it down.
That is because the infrastructure is there. And I think people in the community need to know why this is something that was set up and formed here. And it's because the infrastructure is there because the 1960s and 1970s, when Pacific Gas and Electric was running this facility, this was actually the major producer of electricity on the West Coast. It produced more electricity than all the power plants in LA. And it is there, but it needs to be safe.
So he's talking about that this, if you heard him, this was the number one producer of electricity on the entire West Coast, bigger than anything in LA. How are they doing that? They're doing that with fossil fuels. They're doing that with natural gas. Yes, that's right, environmentalists. That's right, you insane, deranged environmentalists that have lost your frigging minds that think lithium batteries are going to charge themselves without any kind of fossil fuel. You're out of your minds. Natural gas is why Elon and Tesla and everyone else has been burning the natural gas to charge and build these lithium batteries at this spot. That's why it's there, right next to a wildlife refuge, right next to the water supply. I mean, the more that I hear about this, the worse it gets. It's insane.
As we move forward,
interviewed, he's very nervous about it because he knows that he's going up against not only the richest man in the world, Elon, but all the power that be, all the politics in California, all of this bullshit nonsense that they've been pushing about electric vehicle mandates, lithium battery, ion battery being green and sustainable. All of that shit is now crumbling. He refers to this incident as the 3 Mile Island incident for the electric vehicle industry. That's a reference to the nuclear incident that happened. We're going to see cancers spike for decades after this incident in the food supplies, in the water supplies. We're going to see dead floating fish. Where's Sierra Club down there? Where's all these environmental groups? Sierra Club ain't nowhere around, are they? Hell no. They're lobbying rich people in D.C., right? They're pulling all this. Nobody's going to. They're trying to silence without doing a proper soil analysis of the contamination. The lithium battery fire that erupted at Moss Island Power Plant continues to smolder at Monterey County. So not only is it smoldering, now this was on the 17th, 25th, it had multiple erupts. The fire erupted around 3 p.m. on Thursday at the Moss Landing Power Plant. The facility is a natural gas powered. That's fossil fuels for you Rep AOC super geniuses. Natural gas electricity generation plant operated by Texas-based Vistra Energy. The facility also has 2 battery storage stations owned by PG&E and Vistra. Elon Tesla's in that. On Friday morning, Monterey County officials and Vistra Energy executives who operate the power plant gave an update on the fire at the press conference. Okay, so that's Supervisor Glenn Church. He's a good guy. I think he meant well and still means well. And I think that he is willing and making motions to shut this plant down for good. I hope that's the case. Quote unquote, here he is. This is a wake-up call for this industry, he said. If we're going to be moving ahead with sustainable energy, nothing sustainable about this. This is worse than anything that ever could have happened, any CO2 that comes out of burning natural gas. This is far worse with this hydrogen fluoride, which little drops corrodes through concrete. You eat this when it goes into the root vegetables, it will kill you. Quite possibly. Probable. We need to have a safe battery system in place. So we just heard him say that. So here's a picture of the smoke. What fire preventions were. It's about the residue that's gone into the soil. And one of the most key, crucial agricultural parts Here's Vistra. I mean, wah, 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 quote unquote, we take very seriously what happened last night. We're hurting today. We are hurting today because we know primarily its impact on the people who live around our site. He apologized to the community for what happened, but assured residents that Vistra does business the right way, end quote. Now, you're done there, boss. You've done it the wrong way too many times. And all this politics that's kept this open for 4 separate fires is done. The House of Cards is done. It should be done. And I hope it's done. We pray to God it's done. Pete Ziegler, Regional Vice President of Vista Energy, who oversees the Moss Landing facility, told concerned residents that the company would make the findings from the incident public. Oh, sure. We do business with our quote. We do business with our communities, he said. We care about our communities, and we believe we deserve all the information that we have. And we believe you deserve all the information that we have. Oh, sure, buddy. Are you Monterey County? That's Monterey Bay. County Board of Supervisors are calling for an independent investigation as this marks 6 years. Going on 6. This has got to be the last one, Church said. This never should have happened, ever, right next to a wildlife refuge. So there's that there. I'm going to blast right on through that. I'm doing this because I don't want to make it long. We are looking at, that's the ocean, boss. That looks like it's probably the ocean. Yes. 2 stacks right here. That's probably going to be your natural gas emissions. This is the building here. These are little battery storage facilities, little Tesla, PGE, and whatever ones right through there. Here's a little water channel right through here and a marina. All those people, all those boats, all that condition. This hydrogen fluoride has rained down on them. And as the rains move in this next couple of days and for the next week and months, but really this next couple of days are going to be super important, it's going to wash all of that into this slough. So now share this tab instead. View tab in studio. So this is really this is science fi to me. This is just really creepy. One of the things that I came across that I found kind of interesting is that this facility had no humans in it, if I understand this correctly. These cooling, whatever this cooling mechanism, granted, I am not a scientist. I do not understand the whole mechanisms of these lithium batteries, the production, the contamination, and all of it. I know that they need the water. That's probably right where they're by the water. And I know that the greatest appeal for this is obvious, that it was a large producer of kilowatts, megawatts, with the natural gas facility hooked up, already built. So you don't have to spend the hundreds of millions of dollars. Tesla or anybody else, PGE, all the other interests with these lithium batteries that have got to go in the cars. Every electric vehicle car's got to have this or something like it. There's a sodium. Now, there's some sort of a sodium. I don't know if it's chloride sodium instead of the lithium. They say it's not as good. It doesn't last as long. I don't think it goes as far. Maybe it doesn't hold the charge. Some of you probably know much better than I do, but it is significant. And so there's a reason why this lithium has taken top notch. But I mean, look at this. Are these some sort of dryers? Are these coolers? Are they heaters? I don't know. There's no workers in there. Is this a robot? I just found that to be interesting, kind of creepy and interesting. It also came out of an article. So let me bounce around through here. This one here, share this tab instead. So I'm not sure if I noticed on my last video, look at that. Share this tab instead. And the computer's moving really slow. It's through. Okay, so I think we're good there. Now I've got the pointer here on this screen, but I don't think this is coming up because I'm not on the original. So I'm hoping that you can see this pointer now. This right here is the Rodriguez Farms, but fields. Okay, so we're going to come out a little bit here. I'm going to pull back on that. All of these areas here, so you can see all of this farming. There was looked like some. This is all residential down here. Looked like some some trailer type manufactured areas. I'm sure that's probably for workers. You got to have the farm workers with any product at your farm, right? I mean, it doesn't pick itself. So this is Elkhorn. And this is the up on the top here. If you can see the pointer, it's Moss Landing Wildlife Area on the top left there. This is all really sensitive stuff. So what we're going to do here, this is the big picture. Okay. So you got the ocean here. Well, actually, let's just take it all the way back out. It really puts it in perspective. When I was taking a look at it, we'll see if Google, I'm giving it a little time to download. So this is Monterey Bay, right? Beautiful area. Super gorgeous. Beautiful little lakes, and I mean it's not just systems. There's nothing sustainable about what has happened here. So it's south of Santa Cruz, and you pull back even further, there's San Jose. There you see San Francisco. Again, if you can see the pointer, you should be able to see San Francisco on the screen. There's Oakland. There's industrial wasteland, lots of pollution happening there regularly. That's up north. You come on down through here, past San Jose, Santa Cruz. I've been through there a long, long time ago. It'd be neat to take a road trip and go down there and actually interview some of these farmers, because I think that's really needed, because we need to apply pressure on whatever the powers that be, DEQ, EPA. We got to shut this down here. This is the wrong spot for the lithium batteries, at the very least. All right, for us. So we're coming in. You following me? Hopefully that Google is still working. Hopefully we're still live. So you can see the middle of the screen. There's Moss happening, because I called a couple of these farms and left messages, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on? Are you guys concerned? Are you going to have any independent testing?" I haven't heard back from anybody, and but we'll see. I mean, I'm sure but I don't know. There's so many farms, maybe nobody's contacting them. I was going to say, I'm sure some people have been reaching out, but who knows? So we're coming in a little tighter. There's the maps getting a little more focused. So here's Elkhorn's Slough. Okay, so this is your brine mix. You got some ocean water, and you got water coming down. And then you've got fish in there. You got all your wildlife, all your birds. I mean, anybody that's spent any time anywhere, just even a park, understands. But when you're in a wildlife area and you're looking at, this is Slough National Estuary Research Reserve over here. I mean, we're talking about very sensitive ecological areas, not to mention food supplies and food chains that are now potentially damaged. I was going to say destroyed. I don't know if they're destroyed. I don't know how long it's going to take. You got to do some water samples. You got to do some soil samples. You can't just assume any of that. So I'm scrolling on over here. This is Moss Landing. We're coming in a little tighter. Same area. It's the same map. There's a wonderful marina down here. I've got a real soft spot in my heart for the boats and the marina. I've lived on boats a couple of times. Nothing fancy, but it's a cheap way to do it. I've seen a lot of people without a house calling the boat their house. We've got a lot of that here in Portland, but there's more than likely these are at least some of these people's. This is their homes. They don't have but there's going to be some wealthy people too, of course. But so this right here, if you can see the pointer or look on the screen there, that's the marina. This right here, to me, down here on the bottom, these circles, that looks a lot like the lithium pools. So they have to put these lithium. Now, I don't know for sure, not an expert on this, okay? I'm just kind of blindly coming through, but that looks a lot like what I would call lithium pools, which is essential in making these lithium batteries, right? So, I'm not sure what facility that is, but you can see here, the telltale here is these two stacks. You see this, the shadow. That shadow looks exactly and is just like the picture that I showed you, right? That's the shadows of these two. And this is the yellow. You see this down here. This is, or I'm sorry, the white. These, or whatever, the lighter colored, uh, whatever, however that works for the batteries. I don't know if it's a cooling area. It's obviously a storage. So if they can try to contain it, I'm assuming if there's a fire or a runaway, if you get a thermal runaway, I think is the word that they call that. So let's go back to the map, and then I want to go back into sharing this. So hopefully, well, there it is. Okay, so Google hopefully didn't go too nuts on me. I'm going to go back across. I'm just going back west. Okay, just going straight over. That was the Rodriguez farm. I'm just going back straight over to where this incident was. It might even help me. All these farms, all this stuff was evacuated. So you come on down through here, and we take a look at that, and we can see that it's kind of blurry. It's getting a little more high definition. This is on the satellite. So you can see exactly, as I've pointed out, not to repeat myself, but just to clarify of where we're at and what I did just bouncing around. That's obviously what we're seeing in that picture. That's obviously what is a part of these batteries, okay, which is different than just burning the natural gas and running it, right, the watts to supply huge chunks of California. You heard that in the press. You've seen all of that. That's what this looks like to me. Again, I'm not an engineer. I don't want to pretend to be an engineer, but this is what that looks like to me. Is some sort of burning the gas to create electricity. I could be wrong, but that's what it kind of looks like. And here's these, which look like FEMA camps in a way, right? I mean, they look like a FEMA trailer, but pretty sure it's not a FEMA trailer. I'm pretty sure those are a part of the batteries, facilities of holding, making, or cooling the lithium batteries, maybe all of the above. So we get a really good bird's eye view there, Moss Landing Harbor, of this operation. We can see here the sensitivity. This never should have been there. It's not okay. You cannot put these fires out. Firefighters will tell you this is a new science. The supervisor there that we just heard in the speech in the first link, he's saying that this is a new technology. It's not safe. This is the fourth time he wants it out of there. He wants it paused. It is paused, but he wants it beyond paused. He wants that shut down. This is the wrong spot. It's not where it ever should have been allowed to go. And they bypassed the regulations because of the political will, which is fueling the financial profits of this green energy, quote unquote, hysteria of building, not only building, but mandating that electric vehicles in 2035, everything in California, you can't have any gas. They think this is the best thing to do. And they're going to build these little clusterfucks, these ticking time bombs of lithium battery facilities, lithium batteries in general. So these same type of chemicals that have completely poisoned this area here, I consider it poison. People that are talking about blisters on their faces that were in this area, again, we're seeing a complete media blackout on the people that have been burned from breathing it, from exposed to it. It's completely being ignored, and we're seeing a massive hype and hysteria of about the Los Angeles fires, and we're seeing this one getting swept under the rug, and it is far more serious. In my book, it's all serious. I don't mean to minimize anything in LA, but the nature of this being, the agricultural land, there's goats in here. There's I clicked on this link here. Let me share this tab instead. All right, I'm hopping around. Computer hates when I do this, but I want to show you this localharvest.org. I think this is in the show notes. I called Patricia here, left a message, didn't talk to her. This is Castroville. Castroville's clearly, we've just been staring at it. This is right next to it. right next to Moss Landing. They do all kinds certified organic. Now, how could you call anything certified organic at this point? This is completely destroyed for at least 3 to 5 years, that title of being certified organic. Hydrogen fluoride is one of the most toxic chemicals from these lithium batteries. They've been burning hundreds of thousands of these batteries are in Teslas and EV all over Los Angeles. So this is the same issue that's contaminated this food supply, has contaminated all of the property owners in Malibu, all of these people that own the property owners on all these different fires that have magically erupted all at once in triangulation patterns. Check that out by yourself. Take a look at that. Do some of your own independent investigation, as they say. But was this the one that was? Yes, artichokes. So you got strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, golden berries, and artichokes. I was reading 80% of the country's artichokes come out of this area, this one area that's now contaminated, at least by air, probably by soil, and probably by water. And when the rains come in, all of that is going to that topsoil, and those top chemicals, just like napalm in Vietnam, is going to rinse off into the rivers, into and onto the soldiers, onto the workers, onto the food, and get sucked up into the food supplies. And there has to be a moratorium on at least the farms around this vicinity. I think it needs to go a little bit further than that, but I hate to say that because we want to support the farmers. They're going to need some help. They're going to need some compensation. Might need a class action lawsuit. Sorry, Elon. Sorry, Moss Landing and Vistra. Sorry, not sorry. You guys have destroyed the organic nature of these farms and agriculture that's supplying our country, not just California. And we here in Oregon, Washington too, we get a majority of our food. I think that's true. I don't know the exact numbers. I hate to throw words like majority or without seeing the actual data, but we get a huge chunk of our produce down from this area. I eat mandarins from California. I found out about the Resnicks there. The Resnicks own the Halos, the Wonderful, the pistachio farms. I don't think those are there. I'm not connecting the Resnick properties, although they own most of the huge chunk of the agriculture. They probably have some farms down here. It's hard to say. So let me share this tab instead. It's hard to say how bad of a cluster this situation is. It's being downplayed. It's being minimized. Vistra wants to fire it up. They want these batteries, and they want to fire up the batteries because they need to make more EVs for this target zone of this insane lunacy of all these electric vehicles for California, mandated, no fossil fuels allowed. That's the target zone, which is pure insanity. It takes fossil fuels to charge these batteries. Where do these lunatic Democrats think they're going to get the electricity? They're removing the dams because of the salmon and the smelt and all the rest of the shit, right? All the other stuff that they're justifying, they're removing the dams. So there goes your hydropower. Now they're going to remove the gas, the natural gas. Okay, so let me see here if we're on the same page. Yes, that looks like it's there. So let me go back over here. This is from the CDC. Now, this should be there in the show notes. If not, I'll drop it in the comments. Medical management guidelines for hydrogen fluoride. That's what comes from these lithium batteries. It's a fluoride. I didn't know that. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a student, right? I'm a student. I like to say that. I'm a student of life, always learning. You should be doing it too. That's how we make common sense, wise decisions. We're students learning, okay? Synonyms include hydrogen fluoride, fluoric acid, hydrofluoride, hydrofluoric acid, and fluorine monohydrate. Victims exposed only to hydrogen fluoride vapor do not pose substantial risk of secondary contamination. However, victims whose clothing or skin is contaminated with hydrogen fluoride liquid or solution can secondary contaminate response personnel by direct contact or through off-gassing vapor off their clothes. Hydrofluoric acid is a serious systemic poison It is highly corrosive. It's severe. And sometimes delayed health effects are due to deep tissue penetration by the fluoride ion. The surface area of the burn is not predictive of its effects. Most hydrogen fluoride exposures occur by inhalation of the gas and dermal contact with the hydrofluoric acid. Okay, so this is why they don't send the firefighters in there, because you're going to kill them. And this is why it's a stand down. This is another reason why it's so damn dangerous. You can't put water on it. You can't send firefighters in there. You just stand there and roast your marshmallows like you're going to make toxic contaminated s'mores. Horrible metaphor there, my friend. You just stand there around it, right? And watch it off burn and watch it contaminate your wildlife. Watch it contaminate Rodriguez Farms and thousands of other farms there. You can't do a damn thing about it. And then they all say, it's all good. We can't see the gas. Well, you could never see the gas to begin with. You could never see the fluoric acid to begin with. It's invisible. It's a boogeyman, right? Just like Santa Claus and adult climate change. Santa Claus for the adults, climate change. You can't see it. It's invisible. Well, that's debatable. There is some signs that they can try to associate to it. I call it weather change. It's not climate change unless it's long-term changes to the weather patterns. Totally different situation. General information description. Hydrogen fluoride is a colorless, like a spook, like a ghost, fuming liquid or gas with a strong irritating odor. So these people are talking about down there that have been sickened and poisoned. They taste this weird metallic taste, right? Which is oddly enough kind of connected to COVID-19 SARS-2 illness. They have these, though they lose their sense of taste, but there's also this complaint of a metal taste. It's usually shipped in steel cylinders as a compressed gas. Hydrogen fluoride readily dissolves in water to form colorless hydrofluoric acid solutions. Goodbye fish, goodbye smelt. All this jargon bullshit that Governor Gavin Newsom's saying about protecting the smelt. He's got his little fishbowl with a smelt doing circles. I saved the smelt, California. Those memes I've been circulating them like mad. All that's for nothing, because you've got this shit. You're going to see, if you were down there with the camera, you're going to see floating dead fish in that, at least the Elkhorn Slough. At least that Elkhorn Slough. Probably beyond, but at least there. That's right in the path of where it went and where they evacuated. Dilute solutions are visible, indistinguishable from water. You can't see it. You can't tell. Looks like water. You drink it and you're dead soon after. It dissolves your insides and your intestine and stomach are gone and you bleed and you're dead. Gone. Done. Or the food you eat. Gone. Dead. What happened? I don't know. It was a strawberry. Wow, that was a hell of a strawberry. It's present in a variety of other over-the-counter products or concentrations of 6% to 12%. Although hydrofluoric acid is weak compared with most other mineral acids, it can produce serious health effects by any route of exposure. These effects are due to the fluoride ion's aggressive, destructive penetration of the tissues. Let's read it again, because I was being goofy. These effects are due to the fluoride ion's aggressive, destructive penetration of tissues, routes of exposure. Inhalation, that one's obvious. They go into it. Well, here's something about children. Let me read that. We got children. Children exposed to the same levels of hydrogen fluoride as adults may receive larger doses because they have greater lung surface area, body weight ratios, and increased minute volumes weight ratios. Children may also be more vulnerable to corrosive agents than adults because of the relatively smaller diameter of their airways. So it's going to target the children and kill the children, damage the children, create cancers in the children faster and stronger and more devastating because of what we just read. Long pause. Does that sound sustainable? Does that sound green? Fuck you. Skin-eye contact. Most hydrogen fluoride exposures occur by cutaneous contact with the aqueous solution. The fluoride ion, which penetrates tissues deeply, can cause both local cellular destruction and systemic toxicity and is readily absorbed through both intact and damaged skin. Hydrogen fluoride is irritating to skin, eyes, and mucous membranes. Now, the video I saw on a couple of the witnesses, she took pictures and she had these weird blisters that looked kind of like a pimple, but different, kind of like an abscess. And then her cheeks were all like bright red and like kind of blistery and rashy. And they're sick. They talk about they can't breathe. The asthma people can't get an inhaler in. They're having to drive an hour away out of this area, the people that live there, so they can get fresh air off the beach south out of the contaminated area. All of this is stuff that I've been watching and hearing this last 24 hours, maybe 2 days. I'm way overloaded. I'm way jacked and freaking out about this shit. We have got to zero in on the focus. And unfortunately, sorry, Elon, and all the rest of you investors and all the rest of you dipshits that think that the EV lithium batteries are some great godsend from some lithium god in another Martian planet. It's got to stop. At least this one. I sure don't want to see this shit built in Oregon. I can tell you that. I'm going to lobby against that motherfucker. Okay? Sorry. I broke my promise not to curse as much. Hydrogen fluoride is primarily an industrial raw material. It's produced commercially by action of sulfuric acid on the mineral fluorspar. Hydrogen fluoride is used in separating uranium isotopes as a cracking catalyst in oil refineries. As for etching glass and enamel, I've used that, removing rust, and cleaning brass and crystal. It's also used in manufacturing silicon semiconductor chips. I didn't know that. And as a laboratory reagent. Some consumer products that may contain hydrogen fluoride include automatic cleaning products for aluminum and chrome. Sorry, I got to get a little water here. Rust inhibitors, rust removers, ceramic tubs, sinks and fabrics, and water spot removers. All right, so it goes into standards and guidelines. OSHA, they want 3 parts per million. That stuff is any portion of it is too much in my world. Okay. Freezing point, boiling points, health effects. I think they're just going to repeat everything that I was saying. Hydrogen fluoride is irritating to the skin, the eyes, the mucous membranes, and inhalation may cause respiratory irritation or hemorrhage. Bleeding. There's witnesses that are on video saying their noses are bleeding. Sometimes the eyes can even bleed. Systemic effects can occur from all routes of exposure and may include nausea, vomiting, gastric pain, cardiac arrhythmia. It hits the heart. I heard a fire marshal say that in an interview last night. He says it actually makes people's hearts stop. You send a firefighter in there and they're going to start dropping because their hearts are going to stop. He goes, I ain't going to send my firefighters in there. He goes, I'm a retired chief. I ain't going to go in there. Why would I send my men in there? Or people. Clearly we've got a whole bunch of women in leadership in California Fire Department. Symptoms may be delayed for several days. I say maybe weeks and months. Symptoms may be delayed for several days, especially in the case of exposure to dilute solutions of hydrofluoride. Hydrofluoric acid is corrosive. Okay, they're repeating. The systemic effects of hydrogen fluoride are due to increased fluoride concentration in the body and can change the levels of calcium, magnesium, and potassium in the blood. Didn't know that. Hypocalcemia can cause tetania, decreased myocardial contractility, and possible cardiovascular collapse, while hyperkalemia had been suggested to cause ventricular fibrillation, leading to death. Folks, this is no joke. These lithium batteries are no joke. There's nothing okay about this crap. And you're trying to tell me that Elon didn't know the side effects? You're trying to tell me the scientists, and whether they're on HB1 visas or not, you're trying to tell me the staff around Elon and Tesla didn't know all these side effects of producing these batteries, or once these batteries do a thermal overrun and catch on fire after exploding, or both? Bullshit. I call bullshit if you're going to say you're stupid on that one. Acute exposure, which is criminal. We're now beginning to enter a criminal zone. And that's probably what's going to happen here with these organic farms. and people that are affected, because some people are going to die. There may have already been people that have died being exposed to it, but there's a time delay. And there could be months or years, and these cancers are going to start popping up, and they're going to be like, well, where did that come from? Oh boy, where did it come from? Could it have been the Great Fire, Monterey Bay, Vistra, Moss Landing? I feel like they're repeating things here. Children didn't always respond to chemicals in the same way. We read that. Respiratory, inhaled hydrogen mist or vapor initially affects the nose, throat, and eyes. Mild clinical effects include mucous membrane irritation, inflammation, cough, narrowing of the bronchi. I mean, this is like a nerve agent. This is like World War One nerve gas, GX9. I mean, this is some of the most dangerous possible crap that we could do. And somebody in California, Governor Newsom and team and the billionaires around him, thought this was a good idea to bring this product out to the community at large. Dermal, depending on the concentration and duration of exposure, skin contact may produce pain, redness of the skin, and deep, slow healing burns. I saw that on that elderly lady last night. Again, this is in the show notes. I think I have beaten this burned horse's butt to death. Do not eat emesis. In case of hydrogen acid ingestion, do not induce emesis. Do not administer activated charcoal. Victims who are conscious and able to swallow should be given 4 to 8 ounces of water or milk. If available, also give 2 to 4 ounces of an antacid containing magnesium. Oh, my sweet Jesus. They're going to give them Maalox and pat them on the back. Oh, my God. Support zone. So this is the CDC laying out multi-casualty triage, inhalation exposure. It looks like it's repeating to me. Take a look at that, okay? So there's the Rodriguez Farms. Just to review real quick again, I know that this computer doesn't like when I jump around like this. Let me double check that I'm still, if it's going to play it here. Yes, I'm still there. My hand's time delayed. It's waving. My hand is waving. It's kind of blurry. I can't show briefly one more time, real quick. And I got one more thing. This is the waterways that's feeding all of this wildlife and ecosystems in all of these farms. This is the CRISPR. Now, let me see if I lost you. Let's see if I can get back here. Are you there? Okay, it kind of blinked out on me there. Okay, so I do want to wrap it up, but I want to show one more thing. I want to show you the apologist attempt at minimizing this situation and saying, oh, this is okay. When we compare this to this, then you wouldn't believe it unless you read it. And I think it's in the show notes. And it's from this, probably from Elon himself or somebody close to him. In on an HB1 visa, I'm sure. I'm kidding. By the way, I have no problem with the H1B visas. Screened and vetted. I have no problem. We need workers. We need experience. We need brains from outside the country. I'm not with the crew that shit bricks and said, oh my God. Ah! Not me. Here we go. Let's see here. Where is it? Exploring the Moss Landing. Try this one more time. Here on View tab. I'm there. You're there. Okay, so now when I hand like that, you can see me. Before it was like do 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 do. No 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 no. No 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 no. No 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 no. Can you hear me? Me. That's what it was doing before. So, did you like that? That was kind of fun. God, I need some EDM music there, and boy, maybe a couple of gummies and some of my favorite Pineapple Express. All right, I'll wrap this up and let you get back to your exciting Is it Saturday night? I think it's Saturday night now. Exploring the Moss Landing power plant fire. Lessons learned. This is from Fusion Chat, right? Fusion Chat. Lessons learned. Boy, isn't that exciting? Can you see my the pointer? You see it doing circles here? Look at these. This is what they want to do. This is the plan. They want to bring out all these little charging stations all over that can explode. They're going to catch fire. They're going to contaminate your neighbors. They're going to make your cats sick. They're going to probably kill your dog. They're going to kill your plants. You're not going to have your organic farms anymore. In fact, anything that this stuff comes in contact with, once it's in trouble and on fire, is as good as radioactive waste. Okay? You heard it here first. Don't seem to be hearing it from anybody else. California's battery storage fire, precursor or outlier? ... Here we go. This is the criminal defense. You ready for it? I know I am. I sure hope you are. A fire broke out at the Moss Landing power plant, not too far from San Francisco, on January 16th, 2025, prompting the evacuation of approximately 1,500 residents. I think it was tens of thousands, but I don't know. And the temporary closure of Highway 1. I think they closed several roads. No one was harmed in the incident. No, in fact, it made them stronger. The people that it didn't kill, it actually made them stronger. I mean, they can jog fast now. No one was harmed. What are you worried about? Given the massive growth in grid storage battery system, is this something everyone should be worried about? Is it likely to recur? No and no. No, 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 no. This is healthy. It's safe. So there's the picture. If you can see that, that's the picture that's where I pulled it. Firefighters allowed the blaze to burn out. Firefighters allowed the blaze to burn out? How did you want the firefighters to put the blaze out? They didn't have any tools to put the fire out. Firefighters allowed the blaze to burn out. You see how they do this? Citing the challenges of extinguishing lithium-ion battery fires, authorities lifted evacuation orders the following day. Hell, some of them were back in there eating their vegetables covered in hydrochloric fluoride. Within hours, the same day. The first phase facility has... Oh, I'm sorry, I cut that off. Authorities lifted evacuation orders the following day after air quality tests confirmed safe conditions. So they went out there. There was one lady that witnessed. She says somebody stuck something out of the window, rolled down the car window and stuck something out of the car window for a couple seconds and then said, yep, looks all good. It's all safe. You can return. That was one eyewitness testimony. Whether it's true or not, I'm not sure. I believe it. I believe it. Because listen to how they're minimizing this. There's no problem here. In fact, we don't need to shut it down. We need to expand it. We're going to build another one of these plants on top of Moose Landing Wildlife Refuge. We can use all the water for our batteries. Right? You with me? You hear me? All right. I digress. The first phase facility has 300 megawatts of capacity, and about 40% of it was destroyed. Roughly 120 megawatts. Phase 2 and 3 added another 450 megawatts, given the value the batteries have been providing in flattening the duck curve in the state. Flattening the duck curve. It actually flattened all the ducks by killing the duck curves. This is going to have some grid impacts. However, the state has over 10,000 megawatts of battery capacity. So missing 1.2% of it isn't going to be a big deal. No. Global comparison. In the United States, California is the storage leader. Unsurprisingly, but there's another 5,500 megawatts or so scattered around other states. Globally, there are about 400,000 megawatts of battery capacity on grids. So this represents 0.03% of the world's current capacity. In other words, this isn't a significant portion of California's, United States, or the world's battery capacity that's out of service. To put U.S. battery storage systems in context, the roughly 15,500 megawatts MW it has deployed is less than a single December auction in China. See what they did there? In which 76 bidders averaged US 66 per kilowatt for 16,000 megawatts of requested capacity. Did you catch that business jargon? I know I did. Let's do some rough statistical comparisons, shall we? Let's minimize this situation to the greatest extent. My words. To some recent hydrogen for energy data out of South Korea. We got to go to South Korea to minimize what we just fucked up in one of the worst in U.S. global history. That 11%, 1 in 9, were leaking. Okay, back up. They're going to South Korea, testing on 147 hydrogen buses, right? The hydrogen's supposed to be eco-friendly and sustainable and just this wonderful new thing. They're playing with these hydrogen buses here in Portland. Guess what? 1 in 9, 11% were leaking gas. Testing on hydrogen cars in the country found that 1,463 out of 9,482, 15% were leaking gas, explosive gas. There have been 3 explosions and fires at the 203 hydrogen refueling stations in the country that I'm aware of. So 1.5%, little itty bitty teeny, 1.5% of them killing only 2 people and hospitalizing only 9. Not a big deal. Storage safety measures. Phase 1 of the facility, commissioned on December 2020, is housed within a repurposed turbine building at the former Moss Landing Power Plant, California. The facility contains 4,500 battery racks arranged in sections, each equipped with dedicated cooling and fire suppression systems. Those fire suppression systems were so dedicated that 4 fires were able to ignite, this one being the worst of all of them, and the fire suppression systems not only didn't work, the fire suppression systems are being blamed for 2 of the fires. But they're safe. At the time of construction, it was one of the biggest battery storage facilities in the world. There were a couple of previous thermal incidents in 2021, 2022, and then there was probably another one in 2003, and then we got 4 here in 2004, my words, which were contained and contributed to a faulty sprinkler system. Bwomp, bwomp, bwomp. The fire system created the fires? Bwomp, bwomp, bwomp. It's safe. Not a big deal. Worry, we got a thermal runaway here on the website. Here we go. I don't know what we'd have to study these fancy little graphics. Really makes it look artistic. As one of the earliest storage systems, the facility predates leading practices for battery systems. Authorities have jurisdictions are now mandating large-scale fire testing. Well, now, after all this, we're going to mandate fire testing. None of it before, but now we should, to ensure safety and compliance. Everything we didn't do before, now we're going to do. Don't worry, we're going to do it right this time. Traditional evaluations such as UL 9540A assess thermal runaway. Thermal runaway, that's what makes your $100,000 Tesla go kaboom, and then burn up your garage, burn up your house. Hopefully you get your children out of there. You're going to lose your pets. Sorry, pets. Hopefully you got your kids out. Thanks, Tesla. Thanks, green, sustainably renewable energy. You're the best. Tesla was a Western leader in containerized batteries with its Megapack. As Wasta Vice President of Energy Storage and Optimum, Andy Tang told me a few years ago when he recorded a clean tech talk. This is clean tech. Notice how it's clean? It's just contaminated everything in the region, including wildlife and agriculture. This is clean tech talk. but it's now the dominant model by far because they can build in factories and delivered like any other container. The air gaps means that if thermal runaway happens, which it always will, and it always has, and it will in the future, my words, happens in one container, it's much less likely to spread to other containers. Or in this case, not at all. It spread. The 182.5 megawatts of Tesla megapacks at the Moss Landing facility are deployed like that and were unaffected by the fire. Well, that's good news. Lucky for Tesla. Key takeaways. EPRI and twice TWAIC used their global data set of battery incidents used by the industry for root cause analysis to assess the change in statistical likelihood of battery energy storage systems over time, making it publicly available in May of 2024. The likelihood of failures has plummeted due to changing chemistries, air-gapped open-air contaminated, containerized deployments, and the new standards for battery and thermal management systems to the global industry is using. Don't worry. The globalists with global industry are going to have this in all under control. Statistically, it's clear that battery electric cars are vastly less likely to catch fire, although the characteristics of the fires are different. Like firefighters can't put them out and they have to stand by and just let them burn and contaminate everything around them. A little bit different. Specialized fire extinguishers that not only didn't work, they actually started 2 of the 4 fires. Designated for lithium-ion batteries, fire blankets to contain and isolate burning EVs. And advanced cooling agents are being deployed to improve firefighting effectiveness. Firefighting effectiveness? You mean like just standing there and watching them burn? Yes. God, this is like the 3rd time I read it. I don't even know if I can read anymore. Do I have to read anymore? This should be in the show notes. You got my drift. I think I beat this one to fucking toxicity levels of death. As a contrast, there are no recorded fatalities due to fires at operating grid battery storage facilities, and I've been able to find. This makes sense because battery systems are solid state. They are lights out of facilities with no staff. Okay, these are trigger words. Let me back up. This makes sense because the battery systems are solid state. They are lights out facility. Lights out facilities. What's lights out facilities, boss? With no staff on site. No staff on site. That's called lights out facilities. You know, like when you go to bed and you turn the lights out, no staff, except possibly security guards, unlike gas generation facilities. So is that what went wrong? Did the robots, did AI burn up everything? Or was it the security guard that lit the fires? Once again, battery fires have unique characteristics and there are potential health concerns. Hence, the precautionary evacuation. Yeah, we just went through the CDC of potential and devastating lethal side effects. They didn't mention that part. Not in this one. This one's from the tech overlords. Nitrogen oxides contributed to respiratory issues such as asthma and bronchitis by forming ground-level ozone and fine particulate matter. Exposure to these pollutants has been linked to cardiovascular disease and increased hospital admissions, particularly among vulnerable populations. Natural gas plants can emit trace amounts of hazardous air pollutants. Really? Not anywhere near the hazardous air pollutants that you motherfuckers just did, poisoning the entire Monterey Bay and the entire organic agricultural system of California and the country. Bing! You win, including benzene and formaldehyde, which have been associated with long-term health effects. So that's how they end that motherfucker. Isn't that stunning? I mean, that to me, when I saw that, I was like, boy, you motherfucker. You know what I mean? I mean, it was just like, how could you actually? It's criminal. It really is. It's absolutely criminal. And I actually suspect that, well, one can only dream that somebody would be held criminally accountable for what they have done. But they're going to claim nobody's dead. Nothing's dead. In fact, they're going to claim no smelt died, and no salmon died, and no blue heron died. They're going to claim all that unless we get down there with cameras and film at least that Elkhorn Slough and that Elkhorn wildlife, it needs attention. It needs a team of independent, conservative environmentalists. Hey, I like that. I saw 100%. God bless you. Somebody just did 100%. Cheers, man. I don't get a lot of 100%. We need to go down there. If you're with me on that, let's get the funds together and load up. We can do like a big further bus, like the old Grateful Dead. We'll just load up a whole party on a further bus. We're going to drive that motherfucker down to Monterey Bay. I'd like to go down there anyways. I don't want to go down and get contaminated, but, we might have to. Well, do we have to? I don't know. Somebody does. It might as well be us. And I don't want to get sick, but I want to go down there and expose this because they want to do this stuff in Oregon. Tina and her friends that have financed her campaign and that have convinced her that white supremacy is going to take over the state unless they build these motherfuckers all over the state. And they're dangerous. They're toxic. They're not green. They're not sustainable. It's a boondoggle, and it needs to be shut down at least at Monterey Bay and maybe beyond. We got to get back to the safest, cleanest energy we have, fossil fuels. Are you with me? All right. God bless. Peace out.